Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones go out there and trade for George Pickens. Y'all know me and Steve are going to talk about it and break it down right after this.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, the number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, joined by Stevo. We got breaking news. Stevo, the Dallas Cowboys and the Steelers have come to terms, and that trade is expected to happen with George Pickens ending up in a Dallas Cowboys uniform for what is going to be centered around a third-round pick and a late-round pick swap between the two organizations that's coming from Ian Rappaport. What is your initial thoughts, my boy?
Smart move that I didn't even know they was looking at. Like there was no, I didn't hear any news about them even being interested in somebody of this ilk. So, but it's smart. Like we all came entering the draft thinking they was gonna pick up at least one of the three top wide receivers, whether that was Luther, whether that was Mac, whether that was Matthew. We thought they was gonna go get either one because we seen them struggle so much on the side of offense because you only got one person over there, CD, and he's definitely an X, but your X can't be an X if you ain't got no Y to go along with it because all they're gonna do is double team the X. So with that being said, now that you're adding another addition to the wide receiver room, now at first I was like, are they that similar? Yeah, but there are also differences that I feel like can make up. I feel like George Pickens was a more of a physical type of wide receiver, better at big spectacular high pointing the ball. That's the type of his ordeal. Not saying CD can't do that, but that's more of his strength on his side versus CD can kind of do a jack of all trades. So yeah, I kind of glad they kind of got somebody that's got a little bit of a different skill set because that's probably the most important thing. But it was very important for them to either go get another weapon to put next to CD or get somebody in that backfield.
Agreed. I think that for the Dallas Cowboys is a move that they had to make eventually. I ain't necessarily saying that they had to go out and get George Pickens, but I absolutely believe that they still have more work to do when it came out to the team. Now I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers just real quick. What is that wide receiver room going to look like now? I understand you just re-upped on DK Metcalf, who's an exceptional wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Can go out there and produce for you, but you got guys like Scotty Miller. I think he's all right. You got my guy Roman Wilson, former Michigan Wolverine. But then after that, yeah, it's a little questionable. That's why I was looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers on in the draft. Why the hell are y'all constantly just selecting all these defensive players when you need help on the offensive side? And already I kind of feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers had their minds made up or had this in their plans anyway, simply because like you don't come to this point and just say, yeah, we're going to trade George Pickens because he's still a talented wide receiver. So I think this was a plan that they already had in their minds. And it just goes to show how they botched the damn draft, in my personal opinion. Did they pick up good players? Yes, the Pittsburgh Steelers did. But you still left your offensive side of the ball hanging a little bit by the moves that you refused to make in this year's draft. It is what it is, though. The Dallas Cowboys get better. The Pittsburgh Steelers leave us with more question marks because you still don't have a damn quarterback.
I'm about to say, I think that's the funny thing. Yes, we never expected to say it was a good move by Dallas. For them to be a good move and it to be I would say terrible move by the Steelers. It's crazy because it's not terrible because of the aspect of we already know the dealings they had to deal with Pickens. Pickens ain't the easiest person to deal with, and I'm pretty sure, excuse me, the relationship was a little bit fractured there. But the most important thing was either get some for him because he does have one more year on his contract, which they kind of did. But then also, like you said, they should have been trying to look for some replacements in the draft, and they just completely ignored it. We know y'all can build a defense. Y'all can't fucking build this offense though. So that's the main fucking problem. But yeah, I think it's kind of strange we coming out hearing that the Cowboys made a good move and then the Steelers didn't. I think that's the craziest part of the scenario.
Yeah, and when you look at the Dallas Cowboys draft, they went out there and got themselves a guard. They went out there and got themselves an edge, a cornerback. They got them two good running backs, and they beefed up their offensive line. So Dak Prescott is gonna have time to find the George Pickens. And then I know CD Lamb is extremely happy right now that he ain't gotta always face the double teams. Sometimes the team's gonna have to decide if they're gonna double team him or have that safety shading over top on his side, and they're gonna have to decide if they're gonna shade on George Pickens at other times. And you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, we know that Dak Prescott was best when he had a running game. So now you go out there, you get yourselves a Jaden Blue who can come out there and hopefully give you something that you've been missing these past few years. Because Zeke, we already know he was up there breaking down, and he ain't what they need. It was crazy that they went back and signed him, but Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, they should be very, very happy. But I know Micah. Hey Jerry, you about to pay Pickens before Micah? That's all I want to know. That's all I
Right.
want to know.
And that'd be straight hell and turmoil for that whole franchise if he decided to do some shit like that. Because that's another thing they're talking about with him having 1 year on his contract. Are they going to do a extension, which would be the smart business thing to do? Because you don't want him to just up and leave, especially with his unpredictable nature. So, yeah, I think yeah, it's a little bit worrisome, and but it's also exciting to see what dumbass shit they gonna do.
Facts. That's what we live for, just to see how these organizations operate and move. Because, bro, we talk about both of these teams, man. We know that the Pittsburgh Steelers, they hang their head on Mike Tomlin never having a losing season. But then I always rebuttal my Pittsburgh Steelers homeboys, like, but y'all keep getting bounced in the first round. So does it really feel good? No, it don't feel good. Because in some of those matchups, y'all getting whooped.
Yep. Like at the end of the day, that it don't matter. It don't once you create the mind frame around people that they know that you're good during the regular season, but you can't get it done. That's almost worse. Like it, they're probably the only phenomenon in sports. I'm pretty sure it's some other ones, but where they're constantly winning in the play, but when it gets to the off season, and I think it has a lot to do with like roster construction because you know they leave a lot on the table when it comes to roster construction. Like we can all argue that we probably feel like their best roster ever was probably in the mid 2000s, and we ain't never seen it since. So like yeah, like are you able to build a championship squad from top to bottom, not just on the defensive side of the ball is the most important thing. And yeah, like we like once again, we know you could build a defense. Can you rebuild the offense that you had in yesteryear with Hines, Ward, AB, and them? You got them like even then, like even the players that didn't even work out, you still able to find some talented like was it Marcellus Bryant?
Yeah, Martellus Bryant. You had
Martellus,
Santonio Holmes over there. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Who helped them win the Super Bowl and then was out. So
literally.
you had the way to find talent, but that was just seemed like y'all
Ain't
like
looking
where is it?
for it.
Yeah,
They ain't really looking for it. And if they are, it's in the later rounds.
yeah. I'm hoping the guy like Roman Wilson, just because I'm a Michigan fan, I hope he can come out and help them. But y'all don't. They don't got a quarterback. You can't come, bro. If I'm Cam Ward, if I'm TJ Watt, you come to me talking about some we trusting in Mason Rudolph to lead us to the playoffs. I'm ticked off.
Give me, boy, give me the hell up out of here. The last time that motherfucker was on the field, he caused problems for a multitude of reasons, and it wasn't good. Last
For real.
time, yeah, I don't even know if his teammates like his ass after the last situation they put his ass in. Almost got his ass Donkey Kong just by a couple teammates. So yeah,
For real.
like yeah,
What?
when it come down to it, like I'm pretty sure, especially with this team being an older team, I'm pretty sure probably a good portion of this team, like, all right, what the fuck is we doing now?
Yeah.
We had a hella 2 weeks ago, we had a hella wide receiver room, and whoever was gonna play a quarterback would have helped. Now we don't know who our quarterback is, and you just diminished our wide receiver class. So I'm pretty sure TJ, like, y'all niggas better have a quick answer for this because if y'all don't, I'm out this bitch.
I got a question before we get up out of here. In this
Oh
regarding
shit, he
Aaron
brought out the
Rodgers.
nigga. He brought out the nigga. Good.
I got a question. Before we get up out of here. if you're Aaron Rodgers and a week ago you knew you was going to be throwing to George Pickens and DK Metcalf, and you wake up today and there is no George Pickens, but you still have DK Metcalf, are you more influenced to sign now or less influenced to sign now? Where you think Aaron Rodgers stand with that?
I don't really know because like we hear so many things about George. Just like there could have been a possibility that he didn't want to play with George. Like let's keep it a buck. Like Aaron has played with some wide receiver, but I don't think he really played with no type of wide receiver of the caliber of George that complains on. First of all, the amount of complaint that was gonna come between the both of their ass was gonna be something he ain't never experienced before. But especially with George, especially with him being like, I think his biggest kryptonite is if he know the ball ain't coming his way, that nigga is pouting. And he's not running full speed. He's not engaged 100%. So who's to say this might not intrigue him more? Who say it might, and it's a possibility it might intrigue him less. But anything, it's probably more Aaron Rodgers' fault because he's taking all fucking day. So, like, who knows is to say that if that's not ideal, like maybe they thought they was gonna get a yay or nay from Aaron, and they was like, well, if we ain't gonna get that, we might as well move this guy around because we already don't like him. I'm pretty sure we can say with full confidence, the front office didn't like George, and the George didn't like the front office. So, like, yeah, I think it was kind of something that was gonna happen anyway. But like I said, I don't know who's to say that he probably don't even like. He might like this move because who say what was his if he did have a relationship, what his relationship like is with George.
I think that's a fair thing because one thing he honestly, I'm gonna say Aaron Rodgers might be more intrigued now because the points that you laid out with him pretty much saying like, hey, you telling me I gotta feed DK who already we know he gonna get effort, but if the ball ain't coming his way, he gonna get ticked off. George Pickens ticked off snap one.
Walking on the field.
He's mad before we even buckle him up and hike the ball for the first time. So Aaron Rodgers might be a little bit more intrigued in that regard. And then now you still got you a number one. You still have a number one. You still got you some young wide receivers that you could definitely work with. My biggest thing now is, do he believe in Arthur Smith? Because I'm telling you, if Aaron Rodgers just go out, let's just say in the next 20 days or whatever, however long it takes, and he just say, I'm going to retire, Mike Tomlin and the whole Pittsburgh Steelers organization is going to look foolish and look like they got hit with a pie in the face. If Aaron Rodgers just say, nah, I'm going to just go ahead and retire.
It off slowly. Hey, you going to look stupid because you basically went off on a handshake deal. And we don't do that in the NFL. That's how we don't do, especially as important as the QB position. You need to know that you know that you know that you know who your quarterback coming in, how long he trying to stay, what his what's his reason is, what his wants and needs, all that. You should know that already. The season still approaching. Like this season gonna be here quicker before we know it. Once the playoffs end in the NBA, it's like training camp, back to camps, OTAs. Like it's like that real quick. So I'm not gonna lie. What's today? Today is Wednesday the 7th. If they need an answer in the next week or two, if I'm them.
Oh, you better go ahead and pivot. Maybe Kirk Cousins. I still don't know how people feel about that. But, I mean, he better than Mason Rudolph.
He better than Mason Rudolph. Yeah,
he better get ready. Hey, you could probably flip this third round pick. I wouldn't give up a third for Kirk Cousins, though, because I know y'all don't want him there.
A fifth.
On the rear, I'll give y'all a 5th round pick, and we can shake hands and call it a day. At least you know Kirk Cousins, if you give him the opportunity to say you're going to be our starter for the whole year, you got what, Will Howard coming in at the end of the season? I don't see that happening. So Kirk Cousins might be on board with it.
Yeah. Will Howard.
That's all I'm saying, bro.
I forgot he got drafted.
That's all I'm saying, bro. But shout out to my man Josh in the building. DK Metcalf right now said should have signed with a competent organization. And the crazy thing is the Steelers are a competent organization. It's just this right now
It's
is so
yeah.
oblivious. I've never seen them act like this. I've seen them do crazy stuff when it comes to roster construction. But standing on business, they get people out. They get people out of there.
Kenny Pickett, you just don't have no clue how bad you mentally fucked this franchise up. Like you really did. Like I've never seen one quarterback fuck up a whole franchise that bad.
But damn, Mason Rudolph didn't do that to you.
Shit. I mean, apparently you could go say nigga and get your head smacked in, so it's cool with them. But you can't come in here. You can't come in here and be an ass and I swear I don't know what they see in Kenny. I really don't because
he went to Pitt. That's all they seen.
And 90% of his tape was throwing the buddy up Addison out of that's in Minnesota right now, and that nigga left him and go to USC to play with Caleb.
Crazy work.
So I'm like, literally, I did it with Pat. I remember it's a video of Pat. Every ball he threw in Pitt looked underthrown. Like, god damn, what do y'all see in this?
They fell in love with that fake slide touchdown.
And he ain't did that fake slide yet.
That's what they fell in love with, bro. But hey, I guess it is what it is. But hey, the deal is done, or it looks like it's going to be finalized later today. But it's definitely on the way. The expectation is for the Dallas Cowboys to receive George Pickens. The Pittsburgh Steelers will receive a third-round pick, and both teams will swap a later round pick. So we're going to see what's to it, but y'all already know. That is it from us for this episode. Stevo, you got anything left?
Nah, man. I'm shit. What crazy shit gonna happen next at this point? Next thing we know, this nigga Aaron Rodgers, I want to be a Dolphin. What
the fuck? Molly Ma, what's the word? Hey, but that is it from us today, y'all. Before y'all get up out of here, please let us know your thoughts and everything down in the comment box below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell, man. And y'all already know, always love football. But we up out of here. We're going to catch y'all on the next one, for sure.